UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is being your Wolf Commander, Wolf 10. I am your werewolf. Sorry about the scare guys on Facebook. Please, if you're willing, share this stream real quick. I'm having technical difficulties with my current laptop. I had to use my wife's laptop this time, guys. So let me go by what we're doing today. We're doing a fun stream yet again, and it will be about talking art again, like the last art topic, which was designing your heroes. So, any of you guys want to know anything about art, talk art, you know, let me know. I can. I'm the artist. I've been doing this since 33 years at this point. We're also gonna. This will also be another opportunity yet again to request any topics to talk about. Yes. Now will be a good time to post in what you want to request, guys. It's also be another opportunity for you guys to talk with the Wolf Commander if you are willing, provided that you have a microphone and we can sit here and talk art yet again. So let me welcome everybody to the chat. We have Brian Gilmore, who was originally going to the dermatologist, so he was going to be late, but he got out as soon as possible. We have Melissa Harris originally here, who says got some work to do, but good luck on the stream. And sorry about skipping the stream. I just been busy with some personal private stuff. I will see you tonight for the professor stream if I'm there, if I can get my laptop working yet again. But right now, I think I'll have to take it to the shop. Otherwise, this will slow down production on WCR. And also, she said Merry Christmas. Schooner Tuna's here. Welcome, Schooner Tuna. Well, we just got the usual people here. Hopefully, we'll get the other regulars. And I'm sharing the stream right now. Give me a minute, guys. Excuse me, I didn't mean to snort like that. So Schooner has decided to give us the first question today. How often should one practice drawing? Just about every day. I know Sound Engraver like to bring up that you should practice every day, which you should. You really should practice every day. And if you don't know what to practice on when it comes to drawing, usually what I do is I practice with shapes, and oftentimes I practice with shading. So it can get really it can be quite the exercise for that when you practice every day about the sketching and stuff. As far as drawing, yes, you should practice drawing every day. But the thing is that you should also, more importantly, practice on sketching than drawing. See, one thing people tend to 2-0 focusing on is the drawing aspect, but they never focus on the sketching aspect. And like I said, it's too hyper focused on that. You have to really come away to really condition your mind to be ready to sketch more. And sketching, I would say, will be the most important thing to really focus on more so than drawing, because there'll be some things that you have to sketch a lot about when you're struggling as an artist on certain things that you struggle on, like hands, eyes, and I will even say this. I'll even say this. How I got to where I am in my art came about mostly when I'm like at home just sketching stuff. It sounds simple. I, I try. I'm saying it like it's that simple just to get into it. But the truth is that the more you get into it, it gets simple. And I'm a bit all over the place with this, and I know I'm usually all over the place in the beginning of this stuff and in these shows. You guys know that that's my usual stick. But back into the drawing aspect. Once you get into the field of the sketching part of the aspect, or at least not the sketching, not aspect, the sketching part of your skills, it really makes all the difference. Especially when you keep continuing to do it, it becomes easier over time, a lot easier. You get to noticing that you get a little bit faster too. The more you draw, the more you sketch, mostly. Now, certain things that you tend to hyper focus on, you have you have this been there, done that mindset, and or at least you have a a quick reflex to it. The more you get into it, so I would say at least try to draw every day, at least like every 2 days. If you're if there's days where you have no when you have no drive to do it, I would say that, or go at least like 3 days of sketching. Even if you don't have even if you have no clear idea of what you want to draw, I would say, like, if nothing else, start with drawing shapes, then work your way up to the human body, to anatomy, because shapes are important. Shapes are very important. It's starting to become more of a talk art stream and more of a a lecture stream. What do you guys think? But I would say, yeah, as far as like often drawing, go with the go with at least like 2 to 3 days of sketching and drawing. At least try to get at least try to get a sketch done over time. I would say that try to get a sketch done over like at least a day or two. Have have a habit, basically, of practicing. Build up a habit. It's like working out, I would say. Schooner and everybody else who's listening. That works. It's been quite hectic today, guys. Just conked out on me my laptop. All right, Brian Gilmore. One way I practice coloring is to draw some circles and then shade them with different colors. It helps me find the right tones for going light to dark. That's another good practice. Something I need to really work on as well. I need to that I would like to call that as that's color theory practice. Actually, I think that's color theory practice, Brian Gilmartin. That's yeah. That's one thing I want to practice on doing too. I tend to practice on color as well. What I do is on my part, I try to shade colors next to each other to see if they shade well together. One thing I also like doing is I start with the lightest color, then shade with the darkest color, or at least the color that's almost the same, close to the same color as the light color, to give like a dark shade. but my I'm still working on my colors too, as we speak. I'm not the best completely, but I would say it's starting to get to me. Like it's starting to come to me a bit more better. I'm actually getting a feel for color now. I was like I used to color back then, but then I started losing mm, confidence in coloring. It's only one of you guys. I think StreamYard's lying to me yet again. But yeah, as far as coloring, yeah, I used to be like I had low confidence in coloring because I didn't think I was that good with coloring. But ever since then, when I got my markers and started practicing, then I every drawing I did, or at least every sketch that I did, it next thing in my mind, I was think I gotta ink it like Wreck-It Ralph. I'm gonna wreck it. It's like once I get done with a sketch or a draw, and with the intent of coloring, right? With the intent of coloring it, I get the I get I get the yearning to want to ink it now. It's like I'm gonna ink it now because I can't leave it like that now. Now that I got into inking more, so now inking's become a new habit of mine. So it's been it got since the beginning of this month, I believe, or at least yeah, in the beginning of this month, I finally got around to doing just pencil drawings, and I still got it. I started a new technique of how to shade or blend in the shades. Q-tips. You could use Q-tips to blend in the shades. Like you know how most artists smudges the shading with their fingers. But if you don't want to if you don't want to dirty your hands by smudging, you can never go wrong with Q-tips. And one of these days, when I finally get around to getting a camera, I can show you how to use the Q-tip to shade your stuff. It's an interesting process too, how you go about it though. But Brian Gilmore's talking about color theory and lights and darks, and that's also another tricky thing in art. But yeah, Schooner Tuna. Would you recommend drawing people first, inanimate objects, or animals? I would say start with inanimate objects first. That's why I said start with shapes and three-dimensional shapes for as far as shading. Then work your way up to people and animals, or at least I would say that's where I started because that's what I was taught when I got into art in college. They start you off with basic drawing, or at least into the drawing, the basic stage. And what they do is they have you learn still life, which is inanimate objects. But they start you off with drawing shapes, and sometimes you got to really take in that step by step outlook on your drawing and art. You have to really like patience yourself and pace yourself into doing those mundane shapes. That's a very important thing to take in because if you're too in a rush to try to get into the whole intermediate and advanced stuff, you're not going to be able to know what goes into that intermediate and advanced stuff. So you have to start with shapes, then you go into inanimate objects, which is still life, and still life is a good way to learn how to do shading properly, how to learn light sources, how to learn where the shells fall on and where they stretch out. You gotta learn that before you get to people because people and animals, especially animals, it gets very complicated and tricky when you do when it comes to the shading part too. Especially when it comes to shading, because shadows come with different shades too within the human body when it comes to lighting, and especially the animals when you have especially when you have the animals with fur, or you have reptilians, or even insects. Shading is very a whole new ball game when you get into life drawing, as it's called. So you have to start with basic drawing to life drawing to whatever else. But as far as like where to begin first, I would say inanimate objects first, because you have to learn how to with the inanimate objects. You can actually learn one shade and one shadow pointing, which way the light source is falling on. And that's another important thing you have to learn too: the light source, where your light source is coming from, and that's how you know how to place the shadows right. Because if you don't have a light source where you want where the light source to come from, your shading will be all over the place, guys, and it's gonna really break the immersion of the viewer if they don't know where the shadow really is. I would recommend. I highly what's that word? I highly sorry. There's a phrase that phrase that I know that I don't know right now that I want to say. I'm going to use this one. I argue against using anime as a way to learn light sourcing. Not saying that anime doesn't know any light source. They do have a light source, but the problem is with anime they have a particular light source that they use, and it can be just about anywhere, or at least certain anime tend to use two two color shading too much, and it's the simplest shading, yes, but again, the light source can be anywhere, especially when you do multiple characters. So it's always best to study from life, as my art teachers used to say to us: study from life when it comes to light sources, especially when it comes to life drawing. So it's best not to take to animate as a practice for light source and shading. Now, here's where I say where the reason why I say shapes are supposed to be are where you're supposed to start off with is because shapes can make all the difference on how you set up body parts. That sounded kind of grim, didn't it? When it comes to like the human body, you can use triangles to build the human bodies. You can use rectangles, circles. That's why I say always practice with shapes, because a circle can be the head, a circle can be the torso, a full circle. I mean, and not just a circle. I mean an oval. An oval makes a torso. An oval also makes the waist, or not the waist, the hip bone area, the pelvic area. I'm sorry, the pelvic area. Lines are mostly just there for you to set up where how set up quote unquote the skeleton of the human body, and you can place your hands and your arms and your elbows wherever. Circles, I'm all over the place yet again. Circles, heads, bodies, feet, elbows as well, from where the joints are. I mean, you can even use these shapes for constructing the hand. You can use the rectangles for the fingers, the square for the palm. I'm sure Brian Gil Martin knows about this because he does lot of character concept designs. So I'm pretty sure he's familiar with this, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. The circle could be the wrist, the line can be the arm, but that can entail the whole arm can be a rectangle, or at least Oh man, I'm so blanking on my shapes right now. There's a lot of shapes that they teach us in art classes, mostly classes. Like you learn a lot of shapes, especially if you taking a geometry and you know each shape's name and stuff. You can apply those shapes to any drawing. A square can even be a rock, and we all know a triangle can be a tree. It's just the way how you apply those shapes, those building blocks, and then you apply the details, and it turns into you could turn what essentially could be a kindergarten's drawing project into an artist's work project, and that's what fascinates me about art, and that's why I got into art so much because art can be whatever you shape it to be, whatever you see or take in, you can actually take it in and shape it to way how you want. It all depends on your imagination, really. Really, all depends on your imagination. As far as animals concerned, shapes can also work with animals as well. A rectangle can be a dog's paw, two rectangles to be exact. A rectangle or a square, if you will. A triangle can be an animal's tail too. A thin triangle, or even a line can be the tail, and you could turn that into a swiggly circle, like one of those clown balloons that they wrap up. And we have my wingman, the Guyver Patriot. So we have two wingmen here, Brian Gilmore and Owen Lister. Um, where was I going with this? Heck, even a dog's snout could be a rectangle. You have to really take in consideration how the shapes work and where to position them and fill in the details through those shapes. Like I said, it's a very interesting practice, especially when you practice with the shapes. It's always I even tell Owen this too. Like practice with shapes. You really have to learn practicing with shapes because that will make all the difference. If you have to first be comfortable with practicing shapes. I'm gonna try to share doing a screen share this time. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, I like Owen's comment here. A cylinder can be a bottle. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Let me see. It's kind of slowing down. Okay, there we go. Oh goodness. I wonder what we're going. I'm a little nervous, guys. I'm a little nervous. I'm sure we'll be okay. I'm saying this because I don't know what we're gonna find, and I don't want to get this. I don't want to get this stream cut short if we run into some stuff. Because I want to show you some examples. That's what I want to do. I want to show you guys some examples. Brian Gilmore has this comment to say. It's slowing down. I might have to remove the screen share because it's slowing things down. With any kind of drawing, you never start with a complete drawing right away. Always build towards it using stick figures and shapes. Exact philosophy. Thank you for that, Brian Gilmore. You know what? I probably just have to just explain. because this is slowing down and it's getting on my nerves. So I'll just one of these days, guys. I'm gonna have to once I get a camera, then we'll get into the nitty gritty, and I'll show you the points I'm making. But it'll be not this day. So yeah, what can I talk about art? Um, mm, that's gonna be that's another thing that's gonna be really challenging for me. Drawing buildings, I still have to learn how to draw buildings more, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys in here probably don't know how to draw buildings that much, or let alone practice building that much, like drawing buildings. I definitely want to master drawing buildings more, drawing cityscapes and maybe military outposts, um, vehicles. I definitely want to try drawing vehicles now, because if you guys really want to get your comic books started and you're the sole artist in there, you have to really learn how to draw just about anything. And that's not saying you have to learn how to draw everything. I'm saying learning how to draw just about anything that you can be able to learn to draw. And that includes learning how to draw maybe buildings for backgrounds, of course, vehicles, especially if you're gonna show characters traveling to and fro to locations. You gotta learn how to draw vehicles, especially if you're gonna work on a comic book project with somebody who's the writer. I'm saying you have to have at least have the flexibility. If you guys were in Soundgraver's stream last night about the concert thing, she made mention about that that when she was learning music, she was practicing with a lot of instruments, different instruments from violin to drums. She was never the best drummer, she said, and piano, and I believe she also did. I think she did trumpet. I'm not sure what the instruments are, type of instruments they're called, but basically instruments that wind instruments. I think they're called wind instruments. Yeah, wind instruments. She learned a bit too. I think. I'm I'm going by what I thought I heard last night, but I know full well that she said she practiced piano and she wasn't the best at drums. But you have to point being is that you have to really learn to be flexible in your art skills. Very, very flexible. And this that might sound a bit overwhelming. You gotta take it one day at a time. You're not gonna get the best at everything or just about anything overnight, but it has to come with, again, as we say, from the professor, from Sound Engraver to many to many of our ilk, to always constantly practicing. You will have to really find it in your heart to get in and start getting in the mood for drawing, especially if you want to do comics. And you guys are young. I'm assuming everybody who comes to these streams are either at least 5 years older than me, or maybe 6 years younger than me. I'm being generous too on that one. But for speaking to those who are young, with you guys having the better constitution than any of us, which like I said, I'm 33. and I'm starting to feel my constitution, or at least my constitution is still building when it comes to drawing and art. And so far, I'm able to get drawings done at least in one day. And it's and keep in mind, drawings takes hours, especially when you put in the fine details, especially when your skill grows. The more your skill grows, the more hours it takes for you to get at least a piece done. I'm sure Owen knows that, considering that he's working by himself to work on his comic Beetle Blaze, to be exact. And I think he's just now getting into coloring. Brian Gilmore has a comment here. Let me read it. About that building things, I'm working on putting a structure in the background of my picture featuring Nicole versus the Jersey Devil. I'd like to see that too. I still want to see that piece, Brian. Hopefully, I'll catch it in the Professor Geeks Facebook group when you post it. But I like. Here's one thing I gotta say about Brian Gilmartin's art style. I like his art style. It has that nice anime feel to it, but it also has that Western with anime influence type animation style. As a matter of fact, this is the art talk, so we could talk about. I'm willing to talk about things that I liked about certain shows. You guys give me a name of a series that you guys want me to comment on, especially the art style, and I'll pretty much comment on that while I'm rambling, if you will. But yeah, I also like I like your art style too, Owen. You have a Here's the thing, guys. When it comes to art styles, I'm pretty sure you guys were going to ask about art styles. You have an art style. Don't don't think too much of whether or not you have an art style. No, you have an art style. What you draw, with the way how you draw, is really your art style. Brian Gilmartin, you have an art style. If you were questioning whether or not you have an art style, no, you have an art style. People will recognize your art style once they see more of your art. Same thing with Owen. You have an art style. So don't make no mistake about that. Schooner tuna. Is it true the more details you add, the less likely to find fault in it? That can go either way. Sometimes too much detail can be a bad thing too. Just like the saying, too much of a good thing could be bad for you. So sometimes art works with less detail, like Samurai Jack or any of Genndy Tartakovsky's work, because he puts in detail where it's necessary. That's one thing I love about Genndy Tartakovsky, and I to the point where I worship, and figuratively speaking, I worship an altar of him. But what I'm saying is he adds detail where it's necessary. So I'll give you one example. Symbionic Titan. Some areas he goes with his simple drawing style. Okay, with the buildings, sometimes the vehicles, especially well, no, I take that back. Some vehicles he tend to add the most detail on, whereas the buildings he adds the little detail on. Um, he adds detail to characters when there's a close-up shot, where like when a character has a close-up shot and have to express an intense emotion. That's where he adds the most detail. Like think about Samurai Jack when he gets angry. You see the crinkles in his face and sometimes around his eyes, especially when you get into season 5, where that new style his style is still the same, but there's some. Let's just say he had an update to his style when it came down to Samurai Jack season 5, and I'm telling you guys right now, season 5, I know it's a big difference. While not being the same, while still being the same, There's a huge update to the style. You could easily tell in season 5 of Samurai Jack that things have changed in some areas with Gendy's style. It shows. It really shows. And I'm not talking about the fact that there's blood now added to season 5. No, no. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is there's some things like details added to the characters that you may not have noticed because your your brain was so used to seeing what came before. But if you actually go into season 5, you would notice something that's different about Gandy's style while still remaining the same style. He adds some things, and even then, like, it's still good, despite what people say about the ending, which I agree. The ending is kind of a WTF, but like I said, you could notice that there's something different added to the Gennady Tartakovsky style. Look at his style in Primal, and you can almost tell that season 5 of Samurai Jack was Gennady's jumping off point to get into Primal. I I could be wrong. I could be making stuff up. But what I like to say, well, my assumption would be he was using season 5 of Samurai Jack as a jumping off point to get us used to the new addition to his style, so that we can get used to Primal. He basically used season 5 to get us ready for the new series Primal. And my goodness, I cannot stop singing my praises about that show, Primal. Oh my goodness, that is a gem to behold, and I hope that show win awards. And I noticed that Owen mentions Bruce Timm. I like Bruce Timm's art. I don't like what he's doing with his art now in terms of the recent movies that he worked on, Gods and Monsters and Killing Joke. Uh, I was okay with Gods and Monsters, but I did not like Killing Joke. Granted, he did follow the art style to the T. It's just that there were some things story wise that I did not like. And any of you guys whoever seen that animated feature knows what I'm talking about. Anybody who's willing to watch this in the backwatch knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, Bruce Timm. I made this one comment when I watched a clip of Primal one time before I actually got into the series completely. And in the comment, I said when I said this, and I'm half joking, but I'm also half being serious. I said this: when Bruce Timm is let off his leash, we get Gods and Monsters and Killing Joke. But when Gennady Tartakovsky gets let off his leash, we get Primal. And what I was saying is that there's a difference between it's a big difference when an artist is restricted versus an artist when he's let loose, when he's allowed to cut loose, he or she. So Bruce Timm, granted, in the beginning with Batman the animated series and going forward with many people willing to reel him in every once in a while, he he puts out some really good art and visually good art. Gennady Tartakovsky, again with the restrictions, he put out some really good art. But you also see the difference when they're no longer restricted, completely unrestricted. When Bruce Timm has no restrictions, he just throws in just about anything. He's like that little edgy teenager that scribbles in his notebook with edge stuff. He scribbles edge stuff into his notebook, you know. Whereas Kennedy, he actually is that one uh wholesome and humble person in the background. I would say just doing nice stuff, cool stuff. Whereas Bruce is just that loner edge lord, just scribbling nihilistic stuff in his notebook, but as well to work with. Here's the thing about Bruce Timm though, he's easy to work with. I don't think I've ever heard anybody having a problem with working with Bruce Timm. Same thing with Paul. I think it was Paul Dini that worked with him too. You guys correct me in the chat. Paul Dini and Dwayne McDuffie. I don't think there was ever an issue that I heard from any of them that had an issue with Bruce Timm. It's just we the fans have an issue with Bruce Timm sometimes because he does some stuff that we like. What is wrong with you, dude? But I'm gonna get off him. I rag on him a lot, but I do respect the man. Make no mistake about that. I respect the man because the man did some real good stuff. He does some really good stuff. He still continues to do some good stuff every once in a while. But I'm gonna move on. Brian Gil Martin. Speaking of artists, are you familiar with Patrick Spaziante? I might mess up this last name. Spaziante. He worked on the Archie Sonic the Hedgehog comics as a cover artist, and he did the inferior work for some stories like Mecha Madness. No, I haven't heard of him, but thank you for recommending, or if you were recommending, I'll check him out. See what other stuff he's done is what I'm saying. Schooner Tuna. I think what helped the fifth season of Samurai Jack is he had a higher budget and told a more book-ended tale. The story is more told through character designs and the world around it. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You notice a sharp difference compared to what came before. Budget, on the other hand, it varies depending on what was spent to be used. But like I said, with Gennady being limited or at least restricted, he's able to bring out some good stuff. My only hope is that I'm hoping that even what he did with season 5 of Summer Jack, I'm hoping he brings that to Symbiotic Titan. I'm hoping he can bring back Symbiotic Titan, which at this point I don't think it's going to be possible because he's working on Primal right now. I rather he keeps his energy on Primal and keep that energy up as of right now because Primal is good for the first season. It stayed good. Hopefully we don't run into no Samurai Jack situation where Adult Swim cuts him off again. We have to wait several more years to have that show end its like completely end and get a complete conclusion. And hopefully we don't have to wait years later, more years later, for Symbiotic Titan to come back. And at this point, Gennady might lose Constitution and lose that momentum of storytelling, and Symbiotic Titan will lose its steam. And the last thing we want is that if Symbiotic Titan comes back for a second season, it's going to be a complete sharp drop in quality. Because the problem here's the issue with Symbiotic Titan is that once you once the years come once the years go by, Symbiotic Titan is going to be left behind because it has trends in it too that in a way dates it. A lot of trends that 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 makes it feel dated. And the worst thing could possibly happen to it is that 20 years, no, I'm exaggerating. 10 years from now, and if they do decide to bring back Symbiotic Titan, where, like, how would you reintroduce Symbiotic Titan now than what where it was before? That's the only issue with Symbiotic Titan. I'm like, as much as I want to, I think it's best that he. I'm contradicting myself here because I'm conflicted about Symbiotic Titan because I love Symbiotic Titan, and again, I wanted to get a continuation, but realistically speaking, I don't think Symbiotic Titan will last completely. It's okay. Be careful. Um, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that, guys. She feeling with her stuff back there. I know. I love you. Mwah. Anyways, so yeah, I rather well, if I'm saying anything, I'd rather Gandhi focus his energies right now with Primal, because at least with Primal, that's something he's been wanting to. That's another original project he's wanted to work on. Seems like it, and he wants it to reach its conclusion. And I want it to reach its conclusion before shenanigans start happening. On Lister, we're gonna still talk about Gandhi, but I'm gonna clear your comments real quick. And obviously, they yeah. Uh, sorry, Owen Lister. Gary Tartovsky also managed to use robots and cyborgs as a loophole for. Well, here's the thing about it's not that he used those as a loophole for violence. It's the fact that it comes with creativity through restriction. That's why he's able to do it, or that's the reason why he did it, because that's creativity. And here's the thing: that's not really original. To let you guys know that him using robots as a way to as a form of bending the rules of censorship, that's not that's not new. A lot of shows in the 90s used robots as foot soldiers to limit the violence. It's only through Batman the Animated Series is where they kind of challenge that restriction in a way, especially with Mask of the Phantasm or Robin's Reckoning. Remember the first part of Robin's Reckoning? Was it Robin's Reckoning? No, it wasn't Robin's Reckoning. Was it Robin's? You guys correct me in the comments. The story focused on the episodes that were focused on Robin's his childhood. They were able to push that boundary more, because at that time when Batman the animated series came out, at that time most shows had heroes beating villains to the point where they run away. You always question why they never capture the villains. The villains will always have a strategic escape or a strategic retreat. Transformers, never seen them die, at least until we got to the animated film. But majority of the time, the enemies will always get away. Peter Pan and the Pirates always ran away. The villains always ran away. Pirates of Dark Water, villains always ran away. And when the 90s came in, especially within the 90s, most of the foot soldiers in certain shows were robots. They always fight robots. King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, Most of the enemies were made of stone. Most, no, all the enemies were made of stone except for Mordred. I think this name was Mordred or Lord Malice. I think no, Lord Malice was that mock that I'm not going to get into that. We'll or maybe I will. I'll probably get into it later. But yeah, like King Arthur Knights of Justice, the villains there were made of stone except for the main villain. Conan the Adventurer had the enemies vaporized when you strike them. Rathamon's lizardmen. When every time the heroes would strike the lizardmen, they would disappear because the weapons that they used were magic, and only their magic can take those guys out for some strange reason. Conan the Adventurer was weird, and I would want to revisit that sometime soon because I it's a guilty pleasure, is what I'm saying. But yeah, in short, what Gennady Tartakovsky did is nothing really new, and this goes back to what I'm saying. Just because it's already been done doesn't mean you can't put your own spin to it. It's how you put your spin to it creative wise. So what he did with the robots this time, he made them ooze out oil. When have you ever seen robots ooze out oil? Ever? Majority of the time when heroes fought robot mooks, the robot mooks would explode either in fire, smoke, whatever. You never seen robots leak oil. You never seen wires come out. You never seen the innards of a machinery at all. Even with the Clone Wars, with that brilliantly done Mace Windu action scene where he's punching the robots, the droids, with just his bare hands. You see the innards of those droids. You see him pull them apart with the like. I would like to think that he likes to play with puzzles with when it comes to Gennady. But that's what I'm saying to you, Owen, is that what he did was nothing new. It's just that he put his own spin to it. That's what made it amazing. Not saying that's a bad thing that he used robots to expose the loopholes when it came to censorship. He just he basically put a new spin to robots as an excuse to use for violence. Schooner Tuna. Tartakovsky is a man who makes art for art's sake and often takes a hands-on approach. Bruce Timm, while still a treasure, sees more interest in trademarking his name. Yeah, he's when it comes to Bruce, there's some things to his name that you would never thought would be to his name. I mean, I like it all the same, but then when that stuff bleeds into his work and professionalism, in his professional work, that's where I have a problem. I'll give you guys an example. Gods and Monsters. I said I like it, but I come back to this one detail that he adds to one of the main villains, and I question was it really that necessary, Bruce? Was it really that necessary? I mean, wow. You guys probably never seen Gods and Monsters. Just look up Platinum. Look up Platinum Gods and Monsters. On your own time, guys. On your own time. But yeah, if you guys don't know who Platinum is one of the Machine Men. You got Copper, Platinum. They're all named after uh metals off the periodic table: platinum, iron, copper, platinum. I said platinum. I forgot. Somebody will remind me in the chat. But yeah, she's a she in this one. And man, I'm like, Bruce, Come on, really? And like you said, with Gary, art for art's sake, yeah, he's got the art of silence. It's like that's what I like to call his art, the art of silence, where nobody speaks for every frame of movement or even a still frame of a scene. Even when a character is walking, there's music, yes, but you can also name a lot of things that's going through the character's head. You can kind of get it's it's getting somewhere where you get into the character's head when they're traveling, or there's times where a character will just stand in one spot and you can still try to make out what they're contemplating in their minds. That's what I love about Garrity. And you can here's one thing you can do when you're looking at a piece of work. You can take your fingers, your index and thumb, put on your right hand, um, position it to make it look like the corner of a frame, right? The corner of a picture frame, and put it opposed to your other hand, making the opposite, the bottom part of the frame. You put your hands together to make the frame, right? Or at least you put your hands to where it looks like a frame, right? And you put it on Gandy's scenes, and they look like a picture. Each spot of scene looks like a picture that could be easily painted. I've seen a few artists that manage to take certain scenes and make them look realistic, even though the scenes are done in a very simplistic style, or they take very simplistic characters and make them look realistic, and you could easily recognize the characters too. But that's what I love about I'm not, I'm still gushing over I'm still gushing over Gandhi because he he's sort of an inspiration to me too. Schooner, would you recommend anime films instead of TV shows in terms of using shadow? Uh, Akira will be a start. Check out Akira to learn. I mean, if you really want to go ahead and try to use anime as a jumping off part to learn lighting and shadowing, Akira will. I will say again. I'm contradicting myself after what I said earlier. So if you're going to go ahead and use that, use Akira, any Miyazaki film, any Miyazaki film. I'm just saying it should. I still recommend that you use life to learn light sourcing. But if you, but here's the thing. I will say this. Here's my leniency on using anime. If you want to do stylistic lighting, and you know what I'm talking about stylistically, where shadows form shapes on the art style. Stylistically, you will have, I would say, look at Akira, any Miyazaki film, any Satoshi Kon film, like Perfect Blue and Paprika, or even I wouldn't go with shonen. I would say film, yeah, as far as filming is concerned, or even what's that creator who did Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust? His stuff too, for stylistic reasons. I mean, Owen Lister. Makes me wish we saw the Popeye movie that Gennady was working on before the studio scrapped it for the Emoji movie. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking for. That's the one thing I was looking forward to. Here's a hot take from me, guys, and this is a huge hot take. And Gennady was a part of this project, but I did not like Hotel Transylvania. I don't think his style work. His style works. Don't get it wrong when it comes to 3D, but when it came to Hotel Transylvania, I did not like his work there. There was too much energy going on in Hotel Transylvania. There's far too much energy. Even even certain poses that just didn't sit well to me. Not necessarily not because there was a position that reminded me of. No, it's like it was certain exaggerated poses that I'm like, was it really that necessary to pose this character like that to emphasize their emotions? And I'm like I said, there was certain, and of course, Al Sandler's humor was like tiresome, very tiresome. So not only that Gendy had to he his style was not really right for this production, but he also had to work the style with Al Sandler's humor. So I think bringing him on to Hotel Transylvania was a big mistake. And I didn't even like the first movie enough to pursue any of the sequels. Brian Gil Martin. Ace Voltron used changed the aliens and Gold Lion to robots to get past sensors. Yep, they did. Also from Brian Gil Martin. TMNT sure will always get away via transport modules and other methods. Yeah, they all they, like I said, for whatever reason, the villains will always get away. Always. I was accepting of that with Claw and Inspector Gadget because he's all like, "I'll get you next time, Gadget, next time," because he's always behind the screen, so you never knew where he was specifically. Like you knew he was in his lair, but you don't know what the lair looks like or where it's located at. So there was that. But like I said, a lot of villains had a way of escaping, or at least they will always run away, and never once do the heroes ever chase after them. But that's only because the episode is about to wrap up. And the only time you ever saw villains ever get caught was in the Fleischer Superman animated films, where he just threw them in the cellar. The classic villain looks through the bars through the single door. That's what I did mention. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me say this, but my gateway to Superman was through the Fleischer animation films. And I've seen just about all the Fleischer sorry, not Fleischer films, the Fleischer animated episodes. Because I say film because we had the VHS, so each VHS at least had 2, 3 episodes, and I always used to think those were movies. We also had the Popeye episodes too, like 3 episodes each, I believe, 3 or 4 to each VHS cassette. So she had Popeye and Superman, and me and my brother would pop that in the Superman and Popeye. We basically just rerun those episodes, but I still love them, especially the ones where he fights the robots and even the giant Egyptian statues. I think they were Egyptian statues. So those were good ones too. Owen Lister. Second episode. It was the second episode of Samurai Jack when he fought that army of robots, and the way he slaughtered them looked brutal. Even the oil looked like blood. Yep, exactly. But like I said, that's what made it unique. Because we all seen robots as a substitute for violence to use violence on. But that's what I loved about Gandhi when he used the robots is that now he can simulate the violence through the robots, way more so than what was allowed even during the 90s, where they just explode when you shoot them, or you shoot an arm off and then you shoot the body off and they explode, or sometimes they'll just blow up. And if the hero didn't do anything to them, sometimes they'll run through the robots and they'll blow up too. Sometimes an enemy a hero will crash through the robots and they'll fall down. But when Genndy came on to doing Samurai Jack, and you see robots bleed, quote unquote bleed, that was what was unique about the whole Mooks as robots trope. And that's why I'm not saying that, I'm not saying what he did, what like me saying him what he did was not unique or new is a bad thing. It's the fact that he did something different with it is what made it good. At least what he added to what could have been added to years ago was what made it good. Brian Gil Martin. A good rule of thumb for beginners learning to do shadows is to keep your light source consistent. If the light is from the upper left, for example, put your darkest shadows close to the lower right. Exactly. That's how I kept. See, I didn't go into details what I mean by light sourcing. It's the positioning of the light source to really show where the shadows fall. And guys, don't forget to put a shadow. If you put your character in a location, never forget to add shadow. I don't care where the shadow falls, but put a shadow there. The character shadow, I mean. And what I mean by that, either put the shadow underneath where their legs will be, which is a big blotch or a gray blotch. Sometimes it's best to always to do a blotch shadow than to try to do a shape of the shadow. Unless if you want to really do dynamic lighting, and I'm going to repeat that, dynamic lighting, whereas the light is so intense that the cast shadow, and I'm talking about cast shadow, the shadow is cast from floor or to the wall to really emphasize how brightly lit the area is. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this before with mystery novels, sorry, mystery graphic novels or horror graphic novels, where there's always a bright lit area and there's always dramatic shadows where the characters is or the monster. So really keep that in mind, especially Owen, who's done a lot of backgrounds in his comic, which I'm sure he's done. Hey, he has put shadows to his characters. I'm sure he's done that. So keep that in mind, though, to always play shadows where. And I know I'm saying that considering that I tend to forget, but I'm saying that as a reminder to myself. But I'm also hammering on home to you guys as well to remember to put shadows, especially if you put a character in a location. Oh my goodness, that was scary. That was weird. I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna keep shuffling on. Today has not been my day, guys. I'm sorry about that. Uh, Still highlighting on yeah. I was talking about dynamic shadowing, and I guess I'm gonna shuffle on again. So I'm gonna keep moving on. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, in short, dynamic shadow is definitely a certain thing you can definitely learn to use. On Lister, I thought Hotel Transylvania was fine. I liked the way it was animated, though it was funny. I'm, I'm not saying you're you're cool. You're cool on my book if you like it. I just didn't enjoy it, especially on second viewing. Still didn't enjoy it. Brian Gilmore, kind of think of it, we never saw Dr. Claw's full body at all, just his hands. Well, there is a toy that actually revealed his face, and it looks ugly. On Lister, those Fleischer film Superman episodes were great, especially in the animation. Without those Superman cartoons, we wouldn't have Batman animated series. Exactly. Dread 2012 Death is in. Say hello to him, everybody. He has. I'm sure he's been here a few times, but I'm sure now to call him a regular here. Now, if only shows could do blood splatter with confetti to mock the Puritans and naysayers. That's funny. I like that. That's a nice idea. On this again, when I draw a character standing, I do add a shadow underneath to give them more weight so they won't look like they're floating. Yep. That's one way. That's one reason why you would do that. Schooner Tuna. Castlevania has some pretty great animation, especially the final battle in season 2 with Dracula. Yeah, I actually like that battle. Like it, man, that battle was brutal, really brutal. Especially when Sypha got in front of him, try to burn him, and he scratched her. I felt that scratch. I felt that scratch. Especially when he started hitting Alucard hard, really hard, to where Alucard even was worried. For instance, I like that. I even like the final battle in season 3, where my favorite part of that battle was when Trevor does his uh does his original whip along with the Morning Star and just started going to town that demon. I was like, oh man, get him, get him, Trevor, get him. I was like, man, when he pulled those two out, I was like, oh, it's on now, it's on now. So yeah, I definitely like the shadows, the shading, the lighting in Castlevania animation. But yeah, Dread. We're talking about art. So name any animation or any painting. Bring bring to the table any art that you want me to talk about today. Um, where was I going with this? One thing I like One thing I liked about animation definitely, and one thing that I would say that certain animation worked the way they did was when it came down to hand drawn animation. Here's one thing I really encourage you guys to check out. There's this mini video, and it's only like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's the making of Akira. How each cells is made. It's amazing how it's very amazing the the process is what I'm talking about. The process of Akira. It's really amazing to really look at the painting that they use, the inking for each cell, how they put together the shell, and how it comes together. How each person works on certain thing in the cell. My goodness, like guys, check that out if you ever find it. I don't know the name of it. You might find it happen upon by looking up the making of Akira, maybe. But yeah, that that blew my mind. Like I knew about cell shading, or at least animation cells, because there were certain anime movies I watched that had behind the scenes footage of other anime movies that were being made, like Swan Princess. I saw the behind the scenes of Swan Princess. I'm well aware of animation sales, but I'm saying, like, when you look at Akira and you know how Akira is animated, and you look at the sales, you think like, dang, that sale had a lot of movement to it, or at least that cell would no. What I'm saying is, you would think that cell was a piece to that fluid motion that made Akira the way it is as a landmark in animation. On Lister, when it comes to shading, especially when I ink, is cross hatching or solid black. Cross hatching is not a bad it's not a bad shading technique. A lot of shows have cross hatching, especially that terrible 2016 Berserk animated series that recently came out. Recently came out, of course, 2016 and 2017. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure used a lot of cross hatching for shading. Even Attack on Titan, most anime use cross hatching for shading, especially for those who express embarrassment and frightened. Cross hatching, but to use it as sort of a shading technique, it's often rare. It's often rare, but JoJo does a good job with it. It's mainly used in manga though. Schooner, I saw one video called Accurate Animation the Hard Way, where they do a frame by frame study of the animation of the open bike ride, opening bike ride. I have to check that out too. Excuse me. Let me talk to yeah. You know what? I'm gonna talk about Akira now. Actually, Akira is a marvel to behold, especially with its animation, especially with its anatomy too. I love the way how the characters are designed in the world of Akira. If anything, guys, please read the manga. You guys really need to check out the manga. I'm not gonna say what happens in the manga because that would be spoilers. But the manga is completely different than the animation. Let's just say the animation is more condensed than the manga. The manga is way more expanded than the animated movie is. Characters are different too in the manga, though some of their fates do happen all the same, but in different circumstances in the manga than the animation. And that's all I'm going to say to you about the manga. But let's get back to the animated Akira. I really like that because I'm so glad that I was able to watch that animated film. Me and my brother too. My brother always had to say that he thought Tetsuo always wanted kind of this bike, but I looked at him like, bro, I saw the whole movie and nothing of what you said was correct. Unless you were spaced out that night and you just assumed that the whole movie was resolved because Kaneda gave Tetsuo his bike. And I'm like, no, no, bro, that's not how it ended. My brother's silly sometimes, especially when he explains stuff, and I'm along for the ride because I like I like letting him go off and explain stuff because he has an active imagination just like me. Problem is he doesn't apply it enough. I'm not saying he's dumb or he's a lesser bro, He just has he's sitting on lots of potential is what I'm saying. He's sitting on a lot of potential because he's very creative. He just don't have a way to he doesn't apply it sometimes. Schooner Tuna, I created a manga that's fantastic and it's been very inspiring to me. It's been inspiration one of my inspirations too. I don't know where that inspiration went into, what project I'm working on per se, but it's definitely a huge inspiration for me. To many people, like I'm getting sleepy. I know why too, because I stood up to about 5 o'clock in the morning last night. Shouldn't have done that. When I find my sleep, I'll still truck along. Just kick my laptop. It's on the floor too. That'd be real funny if that worked. If it causes it to work. Anyways, where am I going with this? What to talk about next? You guys. Oh, just got a comment. A good thing to pay attention is to. Sorry, let me try it again. Dread. A good thing to pay attention to is panning and shots of characters. You make a good example was Robo Buddy's criticism of Steven Universe panning of characters being basically only face shots or shot reverse shots. Hey, Leah plus size. You missed a lot, but we can still keep going. We're still going. We're talking about art. That's all we're talking about. Art. So we already covered I've already covered like when it comes to starting where to start to drawing, what to focus on, where to practice, how to practice, what your focus on practicing should be. Getting into the habit of practicing art to uh, to art appreciation, appreciating series art styles, appreciating artists and their animation styles. We talked. I talked to Chuck about Gennady Tartakovsky, a chunk, and I also kind of I wouldn't say I slandered, but I don't have nice things to say about Bruce Timm as much like I used to. Like most people would say, nobody has that much nice things to say about him. Not necessarily. Well, here's the thing about Bruce Timm. It's like he's a hit and miss sometimes. Nowadays, he's not hit as much as he was back then. It's more of a hit and miss. But other than that, he's like I said, he's cool when you have a leash on him. And I hate to use that term, but that's why. But that's why I covered earlier too before you got in Leia plus size. But yeah, if you want to contribute to the art talk, I mean, if you want to hear anything about art or want to hear my takes about certain animations, please feel free. Feel free to ask away. And we almost ran into a snag during the stream. That was crazy. It, it has not been my day. I'm not just letting you know, Leia. I'm not using my laptop right now. My laptop may need to go into the shop. I'm using my wife's laptop, and it's got its fair shares of problems too, here and there. But I'm I'm a trooper, guys. I'm a trooper. That's for sure. I'm a trooper. Trying to soldier through this mess. Trying to fulfill your daily dose of WCR. You know. Probably have to take it into the shop tomorrow. That or I might have to get a new laptop, which I'm trying to. I don't want to per se. I really don't want to. Money kind of tight right now, but I don't want to lay all my personal problems on the stream. Let me stop talking about that. I want to talk about something good like animation and art and stuff. Let's keep this happy. Let's keep this happy. Yes, let's keep this happy. Let the Wolf Camaro keep this happy. I'm delusional right now. I am delusional. No, I'm not having a breakdown, guys. Keep throwing your comments in. It seems like you guys are having a good time conversing with each other. That's good. I like that. Uh, who's another artist that I liked a lot? I definitely like the artist who did Avatar: The Last Airbender and many of the Voltron art. Though I will say, the art for Voltron came from the back heels of Legend of Korra, which is good art. Good art is being applied to a bad story, though, which is a sad for Legend of Korra because Legend of Korra had potential too to explore some new topics, a new crossworlds, a new world, and I have my own way of how I would have written Legend of Korra. Schooner, you need to really give me context to who this person is. I don't know who Richard Williams is. You gotta give me some projects that he worked on. I may know who he is, or I'm probably familiar with his art. You know what? Why am I being lazy? I should be looking that up right now. Excuse me. I didn't mean to snort. No, you don't have to look. You don't have to give me context, Schooner. Oh, I got no problem with him. I like Roger Rabbit. I like Roger Rabbit. I love the Rabbit animations too. Even Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yeah, yep. I like that movie. I love that movie actually. Brian Gil Martin. I liked Hiroki Setsugu, who did the art for PS1 Mega Man X games. I did too. I do too. I love Mega Man X. Let's plus size talk about Disney. We could talk about Disney. Say anything about Disney. I could tell you my taste. I could tell you what I thought about Disney as an animation. You could any art that you can bring up, but I will advise everybody give me context. Don't just throw a name out there. I don't know every artist out there. Give me context. Give me their work. What did they work on? Oh, and listener, is it possible to find anything good about Rob Liefeld's art? I'm legitimately curious. Anything good about Rob Liefeld's art? Anything good? I'm drawing a blank there. There's your answer right there. I'm drawing a blank. Anything good? I will say this: he does good coloring. He does good coloring. You get it's one thing I gotta say about Rob Liefeld. Even though he draws the same character over and over again, draws the same women over and over again. And what I mean by that, I mean the same body part, the same anatomy, the same style, the same eyes for the women, the same spine, missing spine, the same body type. They're all the characters that he drew are action figures and Barbie dolls. And I do mean legit action figures and Barbie dolls. They're not human. I mean, they're stiff toys. It's like he referenced off of toys. Like he literally took a toy and traced around it, and that's it. He just adds some more detail and stuff like that. He drew toys. That's what they look like to me. Like, okay, I'll give you another example. The Major Glory action figures. in the Dexter's Laboratory episode where they had the Major Glory action figures, right? That's what they look like. Even though but here's the kicker: the Major Glory action figures look way better than Rob Liefeld's art. But in fairness to Rob Liefeld, despite him drawing the exact same body type, which is action figure body type, he at least have colors to differentiate them from. So you know who they are due to the color that they wear. Like you know who Cable looks like because of the color he. Well, you know him by design. Period, because he's a Rob Liefeld character he designed. But at least you could, even though they look the same, you could still tell them apart through the colors. Problem is, you have a hard time remembering their names because he introduced them so quick, and they're gone within the next panel, and then they show back up within 2 panels later. But other than that, I guess that's one positive to say about Rob Liefeld's art. Though his backgrounds need work too. His backgrounds suck. Dude, it's funny. Classic art from Leia Plus Size. Huh. I'll have to look them up. Schooner Tuna. Richard Williams also did a lot of animated commercials in Europe. There is a full montage of YouTube, and he also did the film The Thief. Yeah, I remember The Thief and the Cobbler. That's sad. That's sad how that movie turned out. Because there was a lot of stuff that was really interesting about Thief. Granted, we also know that even with the high concept that they were putting into Thief and the Cobbler, probably would not have worked completely to its fullest. But there was no reason for them to muddle that production the way they did. The way that they muddled that production in Thief and the Cobbler should never have happened. And that sucks how that animation went, because I'm sure there was no, I'm positive there was a story in that movie. It just didn't go the way that it did, like it was intended. Uh, Brian Mark, they're not kid gloves, Mr. Valiant. This is how we handle. Sorry, Brian Gilmore wants me to do my Christopher Lloyd voice again. I don't know. I've been talking all throughout the hour. I don't know if my voice is ready for that now, but I'll try. They're not they're not kid gloves, Mr. Valiant. This is how we handle things down in Toontown. That's as best I can get it. I love Judge Doom though. I love it. Is this man removing? Sorry, excuse me. Is this man removing evidence from the scene of the crime? No, Judge Doom. I'm muddling up the lines, but you guys get the picture. Plus size. I will. Well, I personally feel Disney art was best in its golden age. I still enjoy watching Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty from when Disney was alive. Well, yeah. Here's the thing. I didn't touch upon this early in the stream. Roller sculpting was like one of the trademark animated techniques. It was one of the very trademark techniques that I really enjoyed of early Disney, like Snow White. Snow White was definitely roller scope. If you really look into what roller scope does, it really it really it's a technique that should have kept it's a technique that should have stayed alive. It's a lost art, completely lost art. Roll sculpting was all the range, guys, and I'm pretty sure if we had found a way to make advancements to role scoping, it would have stayed. But as it is, it's not. It's a long dead tradition, or at least a lost art. But yeah, that's one thing I loved about old Disney's animation was the role scope was really where it was at the time, especially when Ralph Bakshi used role scoping. Now, here's the difference between Disney role scoping and Ralph Bakshi's role scoping. See, when Disney did their role scope, they did it with human, relatively human characters like Cinderella, the prince. All those were both the prince, Cinderella. I mean Snow White. Both the Prince of Snow White were real people that they traced over and drew over, whereas the dwarves were animated characters, pure animated characters. Same thing with Cinderella. All the human characters were role scoped. That's why their faces move in such a way. Grant, they did start off with the conceptual side of the characters, but when the role scope was applied, that was a dream to experience. Like the terror in Snow White's face when the hunter approaches her with the dagger, ready to kill her. You could see the terror in her face because that was role scoped through a woman's face. Sorry, over a woman's face. The wicked stepmother and Cinderella when she displays shock when Cinderella pulls out that her ruby slipper, her glass shoe. It's an iconic moment for me because of the way how her face expressed genuine shock and surprise, or even that the scene where she's first intro no, not first introduced, her second introduction, where she calls Cinderella to her room and she's in shadow, and you just see those eyes just piercing through that shadow. That was done with role scoping. So yeah, role scoping was really good until we got into more hand drawn animated characters, where you got where you later get into the Disney Renaissance, of course, and you had Ariel, the Little Mermaid, Belle, Beauty and the Beast, Jasmine, Aladdin, and of course later on Mulan, and of course Mulan and all that stuff. That's where they have completely abandoned role scope at this point and went to hand drawn animation, and that's where you got more expressiveness, and that's why here's the thing. This is why the princesses look way more different in the 90s Disney Renaissance, 80s to 90s Renaissance, compared to the ladies of the old. See, Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, look totally different from Belle, Jasmine, Mulan, and Ariel. Look at their eyes, for instance. Look at their eyes. Their eyes are completely different compared to each princess of old and of that time. And I will even say this: look at the princesses now with the 3D animation, from Moana to the sisters. I tend to put Anna at I put Anna at how did I forget her name? How did I forget her name? Elsa. I tend to put those two together when it comes to Frozen. Everybody seems to be more focused on Elsa. Elsa's more popular between her and Anna, but I always put those two together because it's always been about their sisterhood when it comes to Frozen, not necessarily Elsa's existential crisis and Anna's bubbly attitude. It's always about their sisterly dynamic. So I put those two together, and uh, Rapunzel and who else? Who else? Because we have Moana, we have Rapunzel, Elsa, and Anna, and Moana. Soon we're gonna get Raya, but their eyes are different compared to the Disney princess of '90s to 2000s, which you also had Princess Tiana. So where I'm getting at with Disney went through a time period where you can see noticeable updates to how they did their animation. Owen Lister, Liefeld's anatomy is what I would describe as broken. I would describe that as more a bad sculpture. I'd rather describe his work as bad sculpting. Like if you were look at him doing a sculpting class, it's a terrible sculpt. Like plus size. Then I love what they did in the '90s with Ariel, Bell, Aladdin, of course. But I feel now they have lost some of their magic. Well, it's more. It's not really more the animation side to it. Like plus size. It's more about the story. It's mostly about the story. Too long. Dare I say it, I am getting a bit too tired of the quote unquote proactive princess. I'm not saying that the princess should not be doing anything at all. What I'm saying is I'm so tired of these proactive princesses where they're just running around doing stuff just to prove just for Disney to prove that they're not just these princesses that are just sitting around waiting for a dude to help them out. And I'm not saying that the dudes should be more proactive than the women. What I'm saying is that I'm really getting tired of it because they're starting to bleed into each other too much, way too much. Like you see Rapunzel. She's running around with a frying pan. You see Anna and Elsa. El, Anna has a sword sometimes, or at least she's grabbing stuff or whatever. And now you have Moana with the spear. But Grant, I'm I'm more leaning with Moana because of the culture she's from, and I can imagine that happening half the time. But yeah, the issue is the story and how they're portraying the girls in those stories. They're bleeding far too much into each other. Where I'm going with what I'm where I'm what I'm saying is when they bleed with each other is that take that frame in the Moana trailer where she throws that spear with the rope, freeze frame. What I'm saying is freeze frame Moana's pose right there and put all the Disney princesses of the 3D era in that pose. You would see them the exact same way you're seeing Moana. That's what I mean by they're bleeding. That's the issue that I have with current Disney. The princesses are bleeding too much into each other. They look too the same. Is what I'm saying. It's nothing wrong with their animation. Their animation is really good. It's just their stories are a bit. Some of the stories are pretty good, but the way how the princes are operating, they're they seem too similar, too samey. Is what I'm saying. See, Ariel, Belle, and Jasmine, they're all different, very different. They have the same attitude, spirited, yes, but the way how they go about their spiritedness is totally different. See you later, Schooner. Um, I might have to end this stream early too, because I need to get some things in order. But yeah, I might have to cut this stream a bit early too. I probably won't be able to show up to Professor's stream tonight or anybody else's stream tonight. I might have to skip out, sadly, because if I can't get this thing properly work, then it's funny because it was working yesterday, and I made an achievement yesterday. I was able to go through 6 or 7 streams in one day yesterday. That's crazy. But yeah, where I was, Jasmine Bell and Ariel, they're spirited, yes, but they have different motivations. Like Ariel wants to explore the new world. Um, Actually, no. You know what? They all have the same spiritual motivations, yes, but the way how they apply it is different. Where I'm coming from. Ariel explores it just by looking through the wonders of the surface, like finding forks, chalices, something that was never made by merfolk was made by manfolk from above. That's how she explores the outside world. Belle explores the outside world through reading. She explores the outside world beyond through reading. And Jasmine explores the outside world by literally leaving the palace and exploring the inhabitants of Agrabah, seeing the people of Agrabah and how things work in Agrabah outside of the palace. So each you could say that they're samey in their own way, but how they go about it is different. Whereas the princesses of the 3D era, they're samey. They go about it all the same way. It's like they want to go out there. There's no way of how they explore the world beyond in their own way. It's like they're trying to make it seem like the women are exploring it by punching it, so to speak, tackling it, so to speak. Whereas in the that's why I was like the princesses of old more so than the princesses of now, because they try to rag on the princesses of old saying that they sit around all no, they have their own way of exploring. You have a way of exploring their characters through their interests and stuff. So that's what I love about old Disney versus new Disney. Sorry, I went on a tangent one too many times, and I'm wearing myself out doing that. Dread. I think most animation from toy sales that made the toy and base designs at the same time so they could get more close together in your head, which is a good tactic for consistency in design. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I went on a long tangent there. Owen Lister. I remember watching Thief and the Collar when I was a kid. I always thought the thief and his inner monologues were hilarious. He was a favorite character of mine. I liked it. The thing is, he was never. That's the thing. His inner monologues was never there. Not supposed to be there. Actually, they were not supposed to be there. They add that because they didn't think they thought the audience was dumb. That's why they add the monologues. They thought the audience was dumb. But yeah, it's hilarious. But they shouldn't. I think it would have been. I think he would have been more effective if he didn't have the inner monologues. But I'm glad he's your favorite though, despite that flaw. Also from Owen. Though He-Man is an example of misusing rotoscoping, it never looked right to me in that show. To each their own. I agree. Hand drawn. As much as I as much as I love rotoscoping, hand drawn was the way to go. It was the way to go. And that now that's a dead art too. Hand drawn. That's a completely dead art. Both rotoscoping and hand drawn. Now everybody wants the flash animation. It's all about flash animation and CGI nowadays. Play plus size. Can you see that in my avatar there as you talk about Disney? I personally prefer the classic Disney princess to now. I feel like something is missing. There is something that's missing. As a matter of fact, I overlooked. You know what? I overlooked Pocahontas. I'm sorry. I actually overlooked Pocahontas. She also explored the world beyond too through John Stewart. She explored the world beyond too through John Stewart and learning another culture outside of her own. And that's what set her apart from each. Like I said, each princess of old set themselves apart from each other through their own themes. And those who argue against that will never see that because all they see them as quote unquote damsels. They were never they and they tend to often overlook Pocahontas because racism, my racism. That's the reason why they overlook Pocahontas. It's because they overlook it because of racism and racist ideologies. Funny how they never studied the history though. They never wanted to study the history behind that. They always want to see it from. They always want to see it and insert their own politics to the history all the time, but they're not going to study it whatsoever because they already had their mind set. They already have had their mind set to it, to hating history. And for that, they have my pity. They have my pity because they're lost. They're a lost cause. Sometimes I tend to write them off as a lost cause. I try not to, but if they're so stubborn in their ways, then I let them find out the hard way. Also from Leia Plus Size, I agree. Disney has lost its magic when it comes to storytelling. I agree. Dread, hope you have a good sleep and you get your stuff in order. You'll be fine, Wolf. Yeah, it's sad that I'm facing issues at the near tail end of this year. When partway through, oh that's nice. In the absolute beginning of this year, I haven't really had no problems to speak of whatsoever. And yet now crises start happening. My darn laptop. But yeah, stuff happens and I already know the solution. Hopefully the solution don't cost an arm and a leg. But whatever. That's one thing I always impart on you guys. Keep soldiering on and keep moving forward. Like the man himself said, Walt Disney, keep moving forward. But yeah, let me see more comments. Oh, Eloise is here. And Damien X. Sweet. Okay. Another from Leia Plus Size. As I was saying, I do feel the loss of their magic of storytelling. A lot of their new animated films don't stick to me as the classics, as you have explained. I I mean, yeah, like they try to say they care into little girls, but what are little girls being taught nowadays? The little girls they don't teach the little girls to nurture in their stories, and that's what the princesses done of. I mean, the princesses of old have done. They nurture, like when Scuttle no not Scuttle Beast, Belle nurtured his good nature. She was bringing, as they're getting more and more close to each other, especially after he saves her from the wolves, they're beginning to understand their differences. Oh, but apparently, Beauty and the Beast is Stockholm syndrome. I joke about it, but they literally mean it sometimes. They actually mean it's basically Stockholm syndrome. Like, yeah, whatever. Say what you will about it, but I still love it. It's a cool story. Yet somehow 50 Shades of Grey is not Stockholm syndrome. Okay, whatever you want to support, be my guest. Again, from Leia Plus Size, I'm not playing favorites here, by the way, guys. I'm just going down one by one. I agree with everything you said about the classic Disney Princess versus that. I could not have said it better myself. Well, you not only just me that sense. I mean, you can hear from Professor, you can hear from Sound Engraver, from well Al's Al, but you can also hear. Hey, you can probably hear from Mapacelli or Papacelli. They will tell you there is something missing from New Disney. Or at least there's something missing with the way how people are handling stories as of now compared to what was going on. Brian Gil Martin. Here's another art that's gone by the wayside. Cell shading. You don't see it as much in video games anymore. Yeah, yeah. I miss shell shading. Shell shading was not bad. I love shell shading. Cell shading. Damien. Hello, just got back from running errands for my mom. I'm running errands with my mom. Running. Sorry, you triggered a memory, guys. You triggered a. I'm sorry. I love that music. Y'all know that Cartoon Network music video, right? Running errands with my mom from what's that show called? Totally, totally. Was it Totally Awesome? I love. Either way, I I love that. I revisit that every once in a while. I still love it to this day. That was a hilarious rap song. Is what I'm saying. That was a very hilarious rap song. You guys need to check that out. Running errands with my mom. Love it. When you said that, I was like, "Oh, I gotta bust that. I gotta bust that rap." That was a trip. That song is cool. And if you, I'm serious. If you look behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure everybody was having fun with that music video that they made. Uh, Brian Gil Martin. For today, activists, their history begins and ends with. Sorry, their history begins and ends at white man bad. Yeah, they don't know the capability of every race. Haitians will chop you to pieces. Haitian gangs, I mean, not Haitian citizens, but Haitian gang members will chop you to pieces at any given notice if you cross them. Same thing with Cubans. Cubans will shoot you or stab you, or the other worst case scenario. Same thing in New Mexico. They're sure to kidnap you and turn you into a slave of any kind, work or sex. They're under this. They're That's another tangent for another time. I'll say that for another stream. If, like I said, that's no if. That's a possibility because I'm gonna work real hard to get this stuff in order. Leia plus size. That is what makes me mad about SJW calling the classic princess weak and damsel and falling in love with a man. Love is not a negative force. It sure is not. If if applied incorrectly, though, it can suck. Though, just be wary of that. Be wary of that. Owen Lister. There's also Tiana from Princess and the Frog or Kida Gagash, but that's her full name, Kida Gagash from Atlantis. I might as well type it in. Y'all probably don't know how to spell her name, let alone pronounce it completely. Kida Gaga Kida Ka Kosh. I think that's how you spell her name. I could be wrong. I think it's Kidagakash. I think it's spelled this way. No, no, no. Spelled this way. Kidagakash. That's how you say it, and that's how you spell it right there. There you go, guys. That's how you say Kida's name, her full name. No, here's the thing about Princess Tiana. Um, Princess Tiana was like the prototype to new Disney princesses, Owen. But she's one of a kind in her own right too. See, she may have been a proactive princess, but she didn't upstage Naveen that much. Not saying that not saying that Moana upstaged Maui, because Maui did his own thing too, but she didn't upstage him. Whereas Elsa and Anna upstaged Kristoff more times than one. Even even though in the first movie Kristoff actually had his moments too, but majority of the time in Frozen, Elsa and Anna upstaged him. And Finn, I will say this, Finn. Here's the thing I will say about the new princess in the new Disney. They had their moment of shine. I think everybody likes Finn more though, or Flynn. What's his name? Flynn? I think it's Flynn. Eugene. I'm gonna call him Eugene. That's his real name. His Eugene is more of a better prince than say Kristoff. And Maui is just a god, a demigod. So he's a Chad. Anyways, he's a Chad. Whereas Kristoff seems to be the virgin, the hopeless virgin. But back to Tiana. Tiana was more of a prototype to the proactive princess that we get nowadays. And the only reason why she's okay in my book, because she start out that way. It's not because she's saying I'm not gonna wait for a man to help me out. No, it's like I'm not gonna wait for my dreams to be dreams, to stay dreams. I'm gonna make my dreams come true. I'm gonna go out there, get knuckle down, get to work, and get my dreams into reality. So she didn't have the exploration for the world beyond. Same thing with Kita. Kita wasn't the typical princess that was like exploring the world beyond. She was curious about the world, but she didn't actively go out there to explore it. The world beyond, I mean, like Ariel, Belle, and Jasmine did. Kita was more about helping her people. Same thing with Esmeralda. They weren't really that exploring the world beyond. The world beyond came to them. Whereas, sorry, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, and Ariel were more of exploring the world beyond. So they were, in a way, you could say they were proactive in their own way, in their own right. But I could talk all day about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk some more if I read any of your comments, but still, like, there's a lot wrong. There's some wrong to new Disney is what I'm saying. Raya might be a different story though. Might be, but I'm not holding my breath on Raya. As a matter of fact, I'm not even at all that interested in seeing Raya in the Last Dragon, I think it's called. Not really. I think I finally reached that point where adults get tired of watching cartoons and they think it's child stuff. Brian Gilmore told Leia Plus says they would rather have Abby Zilla as their version of strong woman rather than actual strong woman who embraces her femininity, like Xena, Wonder Woman, old classic She-Hulk and Red She-Hulk, which is toxic femininity from Red She-Hulk. Actually, the toxic femininity is the comic book heroines, the comic book villainesses that embodies the toxic femininity are Star Sapphire, Red She-Hulk, Harley Quinn, a lot from Poison Ivy. Sometimes Catwoman, though, Catwoman dials it back, so she tends to tone it down because she does have a good heart. But the toxic femininity comes from the villainess, which is obsessive, impulsive, controlling, um, power hungry, and penis envy, like Mother Gothel. Nah, nah. Uh, Owen Lister. In the hands of a better writer, 50 Shades of Grey could have been a good modern telling of Beauty and the Beast instead of a bad fan fiction, which is how that book got pushed. Actually, you know what? Owen, you don't check this out, but anybody who wants to see, well, you know what, Owen? Check it out at your own risk due to your belief system. But if you guys want to check out 50 Shades done right, check out this movie called Secretary. It's got the same concept as 50 Shades of Grey. The only difference is it did came from a book and only from one book. But it stars Maggie Gyllenhaal and James Spader. If you guys want to see 50 Shades of Grey done right, check out Secretary. Well, of course it's cuter because you can't memorize Kidagagash. Kidding. I'm kidding. Left plus I said Brian Gil Martin. That's the woke sickness sneaking into cartoons from the fembots and their man-hating believers. That's a good name for them. Fembots and their man-hating believers. Plus, I read that the writers of Elsa did not want her to smile because they felt that made a woman weak if she smiled. Notice how they won't let her smile. That is dumb. She does. Here's the thing. She do smile to some degree, but the way how they refuse to let her smile, it gives off this stern, this overcompensating stern look, this sort of resting bitch face. Excuse me for swearing, but still, like there are times she has resting bitch face, but then she also has overbearing stern face. It's like I call it overbearing stern face. Like she's stern too much. She's too stern, especially on her sister. I'm like you're like you may be the big sister, but it's not your business if she wants to get married or not, or find true love. Grant, yeah, you have a point, but let her learn the hard way. Let her learn about love and stuff. It's like me trying to control who my brother dates. I'm like, bruh, if you want to date that person, go ahead. Just promise me you'll be careful. That's all I want. Just be safe and be careful. Plus, I said, Owen Lister, I agree with your 50 Shades comment. The writer is a bad writer. She's a hack, really. When their movie came to the big screen, they should have taken it serious, as you said. Well, here's the thing: they want to take it serious, but Elo James came on and brought her husband as the director to direct the films after that. That's the thing. It's the same thing with Stephanie Meyer. Twilight was going to be different when it was going to be on the adapted to the big screen. Twilight was going to be different. Twilight was actually going to be an action filled Buffy style vampire movie, to be exact. But Stephanie Meyer had to step in and say, "No, that's not how it's going to be. I want it exactly like my book." So they had a chance to be good. Just these there's a word for them, and I don't want to say it on stream. So they want to assert themselves into the movie production. You know, sometimes they need editors, man. This is why you need editors and professional editors at that. And I don't think they ever had editors at all to tell them what to change and what not to change. But I agree with both of you guys' points there. I think we covered enough about Disney. Excuse me. I didn't mean to snort. You know what I wish Disney would go back to though? They kind of explored it with Wreck-It Ralph, yes. Or was it Pixar that explored? No, it was Disney. Disney explored Wreck-It Ralph. I want them to try to go back to stuff like the Fox and the Hound type stuff. Like Dumbo type stuff. Like adapting stories that people probably never even knew about. And Fox and the Hound did come from two books actually. It was adapted by two. They adapted two books. They adapted the main book, but they spliced in another book within it. The book is way darker, by the way, in Fox and the Hound. Way darker. If you guys want to know how dark it gets, check out Cardinal West's video on it. He also does rewrites, little rewrite videos. He did the Star Wars sequel rewrites, and he did the Star Wars prequel rewrite, which are my favorite. To me, are canon to me with his rewrites. So yeah, check those out. He also has a nice video about the entirety of the Avatar: Last Airbender series, which I agree with a lot of his points. He's good people. Check him out. He's good people. I think that kind of. I think I'm going to cut this stream short, guys. 2 hours should be good for our topic. For tonight, guys, Troy, I believe, is doing Frosty the Snowman. So check him out tonight. I think Catholic Bible Geek is also doing something before Troy. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Tomorrow, I think Fat Man's doing something in the morning. And later on, I think Big Al's doing something. Saturday is Professor Geek's, no. It's Big Al's Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Hopefully, if my computer works on Sunday, it will be me on Lister and the Immaculate Travis Scribe, Ivan Mendoza, and the rewatch of Blade 2. Next to us is Study Hall with Troy Pacelli and Age Boomer, starting at the same time. So, guys, don't feel bad if you don't show up to my stream. Do not feel bad. If you guys want your daily dose of geek news, get your daily dose of geek news. Do whatever, guys. Do whatever. But if you do show up on that night, we glad you showed up. Sometimes it'll be unexpected, but it's welcome. Later on will be me and again, hopefully if my computer works, I might have to use my wife's computer from now on until I can get this stuff sorted out. But it'll be me. Actually, no. Tomorrow night as well will be me and Mr. Matchstick doing Arkham Origins, the DLC. And Sunday with us again will be Cowboy Bebop We Watch. Monday will be Silent Grader's Monday Night Muse, and I believe Professor Geek might do something earlier to that day as well. But definitely check out Silent Graver's Monday Night Muse to get the latest on her topics on art and art related stuff. And tomorrow, the next day after that will be Wolf Commander Rambles. We'll be talking about, I believe, I think I had it set up. I think we're talking about relationships in fiction. So you guys, thank you for showing up. Of course, Wednesday will be songs with Birdman, with Daniel Herron, H Boomer, and Green Lion Girls gaming stream, which she'll be still tackling Hitman. And of course, Thursday, Wolf Commander Rambles, and we'll be talking about rivals, rivalry in fiction. So you guys have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your day. This has been Wolf 10 Media, your Wolf Commander and your werewolf.